Okay, this is Orlando Wilson. What I want to talk about in this video is something to me which is the most basic aspect of all security operations, protection operations, business operations, etc. And that's threat assessments. Threat assessments are essential. But it makes me laugh how a lot of people don't even go over threat assessments when dealing with clients. They get the phone call, all they're thinking is dollars, and they send along some bodies to be with a client. Security guard stuff, huh? Anyway, threat assessments need to cover all aspects of the client's life, all aspects where there could be issues, anything that could be a problem, anything that could cause you a problem, anything that could cause the client the problem. And in addition to doing the threat assessment, well, when you do the threat assessment, from there you can work out, one, if the job's worthwhile, if there's going to be unnecessary problems, and you also can work out how you're going to do the job, what you're going to charge for. So again, to me, the threat assessment is essential. Not just considering the security aspects, you need to consider legal aspects, use of force aspects, anything, logistics, etc. Anywhere where there could be any potential problems. And it's not just focusing on the threats from physical assault. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, me and one of the guys I was working with, we went to Dominican Republic, specifically to do a threat assessment on a location there, a big investment. They was asking us if we wanted to do the security for this place. Big investment in a place called Luperon. It's going to be a big marina, etc., etc. Big money. Anyway, long story short, we told the people we went in to do the threat assessment for, project stank. How can I put it? Security wasn't too much of a problem. The problem was the lawyers they were using. They're using some lawyer nobody'd heard of, nobody knew, some very small guy, and he was dealing with what was going to be a $1 billion plus investment. We criticized the project due to the lack of organization, etc. And the people behind the project, these were some, how can I put it, white people from, I don't know, Colorado or something, spa owners. They own some luxury stuff there. You know what works in white people land in Colorado is not going to work in Dominican Republic. Little bit of a different environment. Very much goldfish swimming with sharks. Anyway, they didn't like our report. Why? Because they're beautiful people and we're just security people, right? Anyway, as I said, long story short, we had argued it paid, and we got paid because that was part of our threat assessment. And the day in Dominican Republic, if you had money, you're not leaving the country. So they were politely told, okay, you don't want to pay our bill. We'll send our friends from the police around to take your passports, etc. We got paid. So knowing how to get paid needs to be part of your threat assessment. Long story short, with their project, they had a big office in Santo Domingo, etc., pushing this investment as a top, etc., pre-sales and getting the media attention going. Okay, good for them. You know what, 6 months later they went out of business. They closed down. Why? Because when they started to actually build, and when the sharks saw they were serious, people started coming out the woodwork saying, okay, you're building our land, you don't have this paperwork, you don't have that paperwork. I think the land they thought they had bought was owned by X amount of different people. Should the lawyer have known this in the beginning if he'd done his job properly? Yeah, of course. But he wasn't there to do his job properly. These people, how can I put it, were played from the beginning. The lawyer, they obviously met this guy, this lawyer, who most probably promised them the world, etc., etc., and they got screwed. It was part of the game. As I said, what usually happens when people start investing and they start to put assets into a place, then the sharks come out. Because then the sharks have the better chance of getting money out of these people, because these people are going to try to save their investment. They don't want to lose everything, so they'll try and negotiate. These guys, obviously, the negotiations were too hard for them, and as we told them, things were already too screwed up. They had an opportunity to rectify things, but they didn't bother because they didn't listen. And I'm sure we're not the only people that told them, but they were beautiful people. So this is where your threat assessment needs to cover every aspect, not just the threats from physical assault, etc., which most people focus on. So to me, learn how to do your threat assessments. And when you're doing threat assessments, you have to be impartial. I'm seeing stuff these days on issues in Ukraine, and a lot of the assessments that's coming out on situations there are that biased, it's unreal. So whoever's doing the threat assessment, whoever's writing it, whoever's providing you with the threat assessment, make sure the opinions and information they're giving you is impartial. Mainstream media these days is not really impartial on anything. So make sure the sources are good sources that they're doing their research from. And also make sure the person that's doing the threat assessment is giving you unbiased opinions, not what they feel, not what they think, etc. It's okay if they understand the situation to give you opinions of what they think, but it needs to be unbiased. And if trying to find unbiased people these days is extremely difficult. So that's a little bit on threat assessments. I have a book specifically on threat assessments on Amazon, and it talks about the Dominican Republic story. If you got any questions, feel free to drop me a line. Also, we're putting up a lot more videos these days. So reach out to follow us on social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, etc. So follow us on social media. A lot more videos going out that should be able to answer your questions. If you got any direct questions and you're connecting with me on social media, feel free to drop me a line. Relevant questions. In the meantime, be good. Stay out of trouble.